Hello, my lovely childs of the internet. It is I, Melty126789, and welcome back to another, once again, talking about video games. Today, today is a very special. Once again, we're talking about video games. This is probably my game of the year, personally, for me this year. Um, so this game is called Ciel Fledge. It's an indie game title that was ported over to the Switch. It was made back in 2017, but only I saw it recently on the Switch. I think I saw this in, I would like to say, either April or May of this year, because I was looking at the Nintendo eShop, and as I was searching around for something to play after beating Persona 5 Strikers, and realizing that I'm getting low on funds for money, so I can't really buy anything too expensive for video games, I stumbled upon this really interesting indie game that was on the Switch. This game also has a demo, so if you're interested in anything that I'm going to be talking about in this video, please go and look for the actual game on the eShop and give it a try. It's also originally comes from Steam as well, so if you have a PC, you can play it on there as well. I think you'll have an enhanced time playing it on the PC, but you'll see why when we talk about the game. Now, also, I wanted to bring up, also as we're doing this video, the music that you're going to be hearing in the background, all of these tracks come from this game. So, if you're even interested in just the music and the atmosphere of this game, please play it if you have the chance, because definitely for me, this is one of those types of games where I instantly started falling in love with it as soon as I realized how much I wanted a game like this to be in my life again for some reason. I don't know. You know those feelings where you're like, I felt like I should have had this a while ago, but now that I have it, I'm like, why didn't I search for it sooner? Yeah, that's basically what this game felt like to me. Alright, so I guess we might as well just start talking about the game, because I don't know how long this one will be, but I'm definitely gonna go off on this game, because this game, honestly, is one of the most interesting titles that I've played in, I would like to say, the last, 2 or 3 years, that I'm not already used to, because it's not mainstream. But anyways, this game is a racing simulator, so, it's different in the fact that you're not going to be interacting with the game that much. More that it's more of a visual novel style of learning about the character of the world, and you'll have gameplay supplements during the game, but you're going to be doing what I basically call the match 3 puzzle game that has more purpose than just being a match 3 puzzle game. So this game, basically, it takes part on a post-apocalyptic world where these things called giants basically exist and were fighting and killing off humans. So they created these things called the arcs to shelter humans from these things so they don't die, but we can still live in peace and prosperity and try to, regain some sort of normalcy, considering that their homeland on Earth is basically completely wiped out. This girl was found by one of the mercenaries from the arc that you were going to be living on with everybody else. And, yeah, basically the game is gonna be asking you, what would your proficiency be? What type of job would you want? What type of stats would you like? And also naming both you and your now adopted daughter from the surface. Now, a lot of this game is going to be a little radically different from what you're going to be seeing in video, because, spoiler alert, I played this game through 2 times, and I have almost 50 hours in the full entire game. I'm not gonna lie, this indie game that I saw on the eShop, I didn't think was gonna hook me as well as it did. Maybe it was because around the time I was kind of fizzled out on playing long games, because I just played Persona 5 Strikers, and after replaying all of Fire Emblem 3 Houses again, and then even before that, I started back up on my channel the year prior from playing Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. So having an RPG where I didn't have to really push myself super hard to do a lot of grinding and stuff really made it different for me. but also because of the automatic nature of the game of just raising stats, it allowed me to be able to, enjoy the game without having to put too much brain energy into every single action I did. I just kind of got to enjoy the ride and just be engulfed into this world. I will say that this game is, made by a small little team. It probably showed up on screen in the first little bit of the video. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the team, so I apologize for that. But they've been making some other games, and I also followed their YouTube channel. They haven't seemed to be made anything as of late, but I definitely think that I'm going to be willing to check out some of their other stuff if it's similar or somewhat similar to this, because, to be honest, the stat raising sort of the games I never really thought I would be into, or even knew exist, because, basically, most farming simulator games, such as, Stardew Valley, Rune Factory 4, Slime Rancher, all of these games that I've now played and, got close to what I would consider beaten, or gotten to the point where I felt satisfied. This is a different take on those types of genres, where you have this child, where you get the name. Her real name is Ciel. Or as it's going to be translated because it's French, heavenly or heaven, She is a child who was found on the surface that we mentioned earlier, and that you take back and then you start taking care of and helping raise her stats to become an adult. There's a lot of endings in this game. Every different type of route that you try to raise your daughter into becoming is a different ending. So basically, there's I think 22 or some endings where you get a different portrait and a different little blurb for her becoming a certain type of adult at the end of the game. Like I said, I only got 2, but it's a nice little extra thing that they added to make your runs unique. Because throughout the whole game, the main gameplay loop of the game is that basically you start off the week planning out what's going to be happening during the week. Then you will be going and making sure that she takes the classes that you would like, so you can raise her stats in either strength, intelligence, charm, creativity, or spirituality. All of these things will matter in the game, so choosing one doesn't mean that you're going to be locked out of too many things, but being able to do multiple is a very good idea if you want to have the best, well-rounded character that will get through almost everything in the game. But if you want to focus on just one trait, that's also viable, because this game allows you to have a different type of playstyle for any situation. There's not much in the way of, limiting you, because the game basically, when you choose a class or choose something to do for the week, it will feed you into these stat pools and will gain you new traits and abilities that will allow you to then further be able to do extra things, and it kind of snowballs from there. On my first playthrough, I ended up getting 500 in every stat of the character of Tilda Whirl. Don't worry, I'm cringy, but that's okay. But yeah, Tilda got 500 in every stat, and she was kind of a beast because I wanted to do everything I could in the first playthrough, and basically I did. I basically got a whole bunch of stuff. I got a bunch of abilities, a bunch of items from all the characters. I also should mention that this game is combat oriented, even though it's a match 3 puzzle game. The way that the combat and actual gameplay works is that by matching 3 of these types of tiles cards that you get, you can activate abilities on the bottom left half of the screen. These abilities range from doing these quirky things, which are like spins, twirls, cute poses, to, doing a double punch, a dive kick. If you're spiritually inclined, you can do flamethrowers, thunderbolts, and ice. There's a lot of stuff in this game that makes you feel, and makes your child feel really powerful if you develop the time to do so. So, being able to have a custom build every single time you play is pretty unique. Also, there is regular combat in the game, along with just doing like regular town stuff where you don't actually technically die. At a certain point in the game, I believe it's after the first arc, because each arc is split up into 3 years, roughly. And after the first one, you'll be able to then go down to the surface and start fighting enemies. This is where you get the only game over in the game. It will be in the section where you have to fight actual enemies on the surface, because dying on the surface means you die in real life. So it's very important that you make sure that your daughter is well prepared for every time you trip down to the surface. But if you die, it's not the end of the game. You can just reload your save, but you'll get one of the endings, which is, you know, your daughter dying ending, which sucks because you feel fucking bad for letting your now adoptive daughter die in such a horrific manner. But, you know, the game even tells you, hey man, if they're not physically and mentally and staminally inclined, you probably shouldn't take them down there because it's rough. But no, if you have a certain stat build like that's physical oriented or very spiritually oriented to be able to take on a lot of enemies or have a lot of stamina, you'll be able to roughly go down there and not have any problems, and actually be able to gain probably just as much money as regular work, because you'll be able to fight enemies and sell their objects for more stuff later down the road. Now it's time to talk about the aspect that might get some of you interested as well, that I didn't realize that was heavily inclined in the game until I started playing the demo. This game has a quote-unquote social link system where you can hang out with individual characters and learn about their backstories and gain skills and abilities to help your daughter, because hanging out with people will gain her the experience to be able to learn and do different talents that you get to equip at any time during the game. Some of them are going to be more useful to you than others. It really just depends on what type of build you're making, but all of them have some sort of use if you play through the game again, and you can use them for certain situational scenarios. For me, I found myself using mostly only the red-tiled ones, which are the physical attacks, and sometimes I would be using the green or the yellow, but mostly I focused on the red because I focused most of my time and effort in each of the playthroughs of the games that I did, being physically oriented to beat up everything really swiftly and quickly, but having green ones are the spiritual abilities that also allow you to just do some really nasty things, like you can be able to heal once you learn spirituality high enough, but also then you're just able to shoot like fire bolts and, you know, thunderbolts and ice, you know, just regular things, you know, currently adopted girl can just do. The joke is that it's her special ability. But you'll meet all kinds of characters, like at the very beginning of the game you meet the first 3 characters that she'll be able to interact with and gain stats with, where your first 3, her first 3 classmates, which is nice, plus the teacher that you meet, and then you meet some other characters as you go on in the game. My first playthrough ended up being with this guy named Bruno, which he is a restaurant owner, and she learned a lot about how to cook, and her creativity would allow her to get bigger multipliers. Well, every time you get a stack of the 3 cards that I mentioned before, basically you get a multiplier, and when you get this multiplier, you can do some really damn damage, so enemies can't even get a chance to fight you if you get really good at the match 3 puzzle game and what you can do with your builds and getting certain equipment, yeah, you can become very broken really quickly, and you can just basically kill everything in almost like a couple of hits, which is really fun and nice, because you really do get rewarded for every single stat, because every single stat matters as long as you have the skills to also accommodate for it. Now, is this game going to be very strict on the social link system? I'll just tell you right now, it's not super strict. It's basic. I almost basically got everybody maxed out on the first one. It's impossible to get almost everybody maxed unless you're min-maxing to the very small T. But most of the time you will only get, like, for a regular person, I would say you would probably get to, I don't know, like maybe 5 or 6 of the characters, and I think there's like 15 in total that you can max out. Most of them you'll know which skills you'll want because of certain perks and abilities that they give you, because you'll learn as you play the game that they're going to be very oriented in this certain job type. So if you're going to make a certain build, you're probably going to hang out with these certain characters more. Or you'll just hang out with the ones that you're the most interested in. There is a character in the game that I'm really interested in, but I don't think she gets shown off in this video. Maybe I go and find a place where she does get showed off, because she's a pretty good character and I like her a lot. And maybe I have several types. I don't know. You tell me. Like, I want to talk about, like, some of the Sportstorian aspects of what happens over the course of the game. Like I already mentioned before, there's 3 different arcs. So you start off with the arc where you first get your new adopted child, then name her. Then start getting into the groove of stat building and figuring out what type of path you would like her to take as you're going ahead and helping her and supporting her through that. But also then in the second arc, you're going to be buckling down because there's a lot of events that happen that kind of are dictated by, you know, how much you give her attention and affection, and also how much you've been making sure that you've been spreading out your stat pool very well so you can maintain the strength you need to deal with the ordeals that will be coming through the second to third arc, which, oh my gosh. This game has a lot of good story, and it has really good and unique arc, and why I probably liked it a whole bunch. I will say that there are some art pieces in the game that are like hit or miss. I guess they didn't miss, huh? But, you know, it's very few and far between, but like there's a lot of stuff to explore and just even mess around with in this game. The freedom that I felt with this game actually was kind of bonkers, because there's a lot of different paths you can take for your daughter to be able to get the final result, which is in each arc. Because you cannot progress past whatever stat increase you get until you get to the next arc. So you could basically get a maxed out, or close to a maxed out stat in one thing before you're finished even the first arc, but you wouldn't be able to start until you get to the second arc, where you get more opened up jobs for her or classes for her to expand her horizons. But it makes it so you don't just automatically just be able to be like, oh, she's basically an adult now, and she's not even in the third arc. I guess I should really talk about a little bit more why I like this game, because I guess mostly I've just been kind of doing a mini review of this game, but I'm really trying to sell it for other people who would be interested in this type of game, or who are just interested in listening to me talk about this game. Because me personally, the reason why I wanted to talk about this game is because I've been trying to find a way to just have an escapism game that I personally haven't played before, and that isn't mainstream, but also just because I wanted something that was light, and that even though I could put time into it, it didn't feel like I was putting a lot of physical energy and like mentally having to think super hard about everything. Because this game is really, like I said, mostly just a visual novel with a flair of a match 3 puzzle type aspect game, which allows you to play at some points, but most of the time you're just going to be enjoying seeing numbers go up and your dopamine levels going, yes, my dopamine, yes, my daughter, you're going to be the best daughter who's ever lived on this planet, or on these arcs, I suppose. But like, there's something, I guess, also about the fact that around the time when I was playing this game, I was having some thoughts about what type of person I wanted to be in this world, and also what type of aspects would I personally carry over to like other people. And after playing this game, and after realizing that, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm about like 24 years old, and I'm ready for that sort of like duty and responsibility to raise somebody or a child, or just help people in general, and help them find their path in life, that this game really resonated with me. Because I'll be honest, nearing the end of my game, I was actually getting depressed, because I was like, even my child in the game was like, man, we're only at the last couple of years of the game, and soon I'm not going to be living here anymore. And I'm like, it sucks, because I'm like, damn, I don't even have a child. And I know this is a video game, but it fucking sucks that I have to acknowledge that this game is going to be over, because each basically part of the game you celebrate with this your child that you adopted, and that you actually celebrate birthdays, and you talk about stuff, and you learn about stuff like you would in any actual like real life scenario. minus, you know, the fact that you're living on an ark because the world got destroyed. But I digress. It's more just the fact that, you know, for a while playing this game, because it took me, I think, 25 or 30 hours for my first playthrough, because again, I was reading most of the dialogue and trying to optimize what I would like to do near the end of the game. But like, those 25/30 hours really left an unmeasurable mark on me. I actually was making a list of like games that I would consider to be in my pantheon of like, I will come back and play this, and I will remember this game and cherish it for what it gave for me. This is now up there in like the top 5, like dead ass. Like, I can't stress that enough that I'm just like, damn bro. This game that I just randomly found while I was searching for wonderful games to have in my library, and that I wanted to just try to experiment and play because I was kind of out of games because the beginning of this year was kind of dry. For me personally, it was dry. But you know, having this game that came to me in a time where I was trying to not only find myself, but feel that sort of passion that I was looking for in video games again, really, really, really hit me hard. Like, I was, for all intents and purposes, like I said, I was pretty emotional and I got really sad once the game was about to end, because the climax of the game was kind of, well, it was kind of rough, but like, I honestly am glad that I completed this game and that I then came back to play a second playthrough. That one took a little bit less time, all things considering, because when you do a New Game Plus playthrough, you actually keep money and all of the stuff that you kept, that you had in the previous playthrough, which is really interesting to note, because every playthrough you have, you basically can make a better daughter, as long as you make sure you keep on top of whatever stats you want to grow, whatever money you want to keep, whatever items you get. Being able to realize that if you spend more time doing certain things, then you can get certain things. And I really didn't even talk about the fact that you can make her spoiled or Spartan. Basically, these two attributes basically mean that she can either be really good at being like chill and she'll be doing the stuff that you ask her to do, but also comes at the cost of, you know, her not wanting to do them because you spoil her so much that she doesn't really want to listen to you. And the opposite can be done, where you can be a Spartan to her and basically make sure that she does everything correctly, and you stress her and discipline her, but she gets a lot more stats and she wastes a lot more stats in return, like stamina, and gets more stressed and moody because of, you know, being disciplined to her. Finding a nice balance of being able to do one or the other without compromising one or the other is like the main coup de grace that I gotta say that this game and the team made for me personally, that I never thought I could experience in a video game, because like I said, I've played Persona 5 and Royal. These are the two games that I would say that when I went into it, I thought for some reason, was it some sort of baseline for that? But no, it was completely different, actually. And I was very surprised and pleased. Because I won't say that, you know, Persona's bad, because that's a lie. That would be a blatant lie, and I don't think it's bad at all. But I will say that I did prefer the way that they presented a lot of the stuff in this game. That didn't make me feel like, oh, I can't get powerful unless I spend time with the people on this arc. Actually, it's because if you want to get more stronger, you will want to hang out with these people, but it's also an optional thing that you can do, or you can choose not to. The only thing you're missing out on are some useful abilities for later, but like not every single character you're gonna have abilities for anyways. But if you want to learn more about them and grow as both your daughter and yourself as a person, and when playing through the game, you will probably want to interact with as many of the different types of NPCs and learn about all the different types of things you can do in the world as you play. And for me, that's honestly a memory and a thing that when I came back to record footage for this game, for this video, you know that feeling when you go somewhere, like you move away from your house or you go somewhere far away for a long time, and you're like, man, this is fun and you're enjoying yourself, but when it's all said and done, when you return back to where you are really used to, it's that sense of comfort and just reassurance that you're like, man, it was fun traveling, but this is the place where I just genuinely feel the most happiness, and I feel comfort and security knowing that me coming back is going to be the same experience that I'm used to, and that even if the rocky ride I had having being somewhere else, and it was a fun journey and experience, that I can always come back here and just have a relaxing fun time, because I'm already so used to how it feels to be here. Alright, and I think that's about all I have to say about this game. All the stuff and footage that you saw was probably me just replaying the game after me taking like a couple months off of playing it. I was trying to learn how to do different routes and different endings, so the last time I played it was probably back in, I would like to say, June? Because again, the second playthrough went a lot faster, but I still have like almost 48/50 hours in the game, because, you know. I will say that if you're gonna play the demo, I'm just gonna warn you, if you want to be interested in this game or play it yourself, because you can play a free demo that gives you the first year of the game to see if you really like the game. And like, if you guys have been listening to this video, you've been listening to all the music, so come on guys. I know you guys like this type of music, so just play the game, man. You can go on the Nintendo eShop or on the Steam page under the same title, and you can basically, you know, play the first year of the game. I will say, I don't know if this is the same for the PC version, but for the Switch version, the demo data does not carry over, so if you get like halfway through the month of the game, or halfway through the year of the first, if you get through the first year, halfway through the first year of the game, and you want to decide to play the game, then buy it, because I will tell you right now, it does not transfer over. I learned that the hard way, but it was fine, because then I already knew what I wanted to do for a build and how I wanted to play the game after I did that first year, because that first year is a lot of just experimenting with the game, but if you play the demo and you play like the game up to a certain point, it will cut you off and it will make you want to buy the full game. But like, I definitely say I think it's only like $20 or so on the eShop right now. I can't check because I already bought the game, because, you know, I found it and I bought it. But I think it's a worthwhile $20 if you're into not only like the stat raising sorts of games, but also just a chill experience that was made by a smaller development team that has a lot of heart and character in it that I was not expecting for this sort of game, but I fell in love with it after playing the demo and then beating the game twice. I can't say that enough. If I beat a game twice, then you know that it's nice. Oh man. But yeah, my lovely childs of the internet, I can't believe that I gushed about one game for this long that's not Xenoblade Chronicles 2. But I'll probably be back with a video on Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in a little bit. Because I mean, like, that game also is part of my heart, and I wanted to kind of talk about that. Because I've been thinking about video games a lot lately, and how certain video games have just been, like, in the back of my mind that I really enjoy and really like talking about. And I hope that you guys like more of these videos where I just one-off talk about stuff, because I think it's one of these important things that I like doing that I do a lot when I'm by myself at work. Just driving and doing my own thing. But then I'm like, damn, this would make a very good video idea that I haven't actually implemented because I'm not at work and not actually at home, you know, having the motivation to do it. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, if you're interested in this game, please reach out to the Steam or the Switch page to play it. I also probably added the actual YouTube account of the people who created the game, because they also have some stuff on the game over there if you want some more in-depth stuff. And if you ever wanted to see videos on how to do anything in the game also, considering I have now played and beaten the game twice, and probably will have those as some Twitch streams where if I don't want to play actual video games and just have a chill time, I'll probably be playing that game for now on, because honestly, this game needs to be exposed to more of an audience, just because of how fun and cute and lovable and just digestible a game it is. Like, I could suggest this to even somebody who doesn't play video games, but can like the atmosphere and just the relaxing nature of what video games can actually provide, and allow you to just have a lot of fun. But with that being said, my lovely child of the internet, I have been Multi126789, other known as Multi-Man, And yeah, my lovely chows on the internet, thank you all so much for listening, and I'll catch you lovely chows next time. So, ciao ciao, until then.